channel. I'm a future New York Times bestselling author. In order to do that, you have to publish a book. And I've been writing since I was 9 years old. To get into that, I started writing in the 4th grade when I had a teacher that changed it all. Came in, said, "How many of you hate to write?" Me, my 9-10-year-old self, raised my hand. Didn't like it, bad at it, didn't like it. I only had to write papers that were like, prove this, why, this is your opinion, why, and it's all about boring things like, are video games bad, yada yada, the environment, like, just like topics I didn't want to write about. So I thought all writing was that bad. Well, she said, "I'm gonna change that." And I was like, okay, sure, bet. Never have I been so wrong. She made us keep a writing journal, and every week we had to write in it. Now, I'm a procrastinator, so I did not do what it was intended to do. I did not write daily. I wrote all my stuff the night before, the morning of, whatever, when it was due. But you know what? Slowly, I started to like it. It wasn't a chore. I didn't do daily stuff because really bad with consistency, still am now. But I started to enjoy the process. I started enjoying that I could make up stories. I could write with whatever tool I wanted. I got to make up characters. I got to make up whatever I wanted. And that was different from the previous writing I had done before, where I was like, prove this because, this is bad because, and it was all boring topics that I didn't get to choose and I was forced to write. Okay, in saying so, I've already written my first draft on my TikTok. My journey's there if you want to go. I'll link my TikTok and you can go see. For this, I want to see if I can write the way I fell in love with writing. I fell in love with writing. I was writing with a notebook, pens, highlighters, glitter pens, markers. This is a glitter highlighter. I don't have markers anymore. But I'm gonna write my entire new draft from a story I thought of back in high school, revisited a little in college, but never really went anywhere. All in this, and you guys are coming. To do that, we're also doing it a little bit different. Not only are we gonna write this entirely first draft by hand, we're gonna document the whole journey video game style. So, the original idea and why I put it off for so long is it's kind of a mix of the Selection, the Hunger Games, and Caravel. Caravel more of the vibe, I think. I don't know, I read all these books back in middle school / elementary school. I was a big reader before I was a writer, so it makes sense that I do like writing too. So that's the best I can come up with for that, except I could never figure it out, and I always thought it's because I have too many characters, the plot's all over the place. But I think the issue is, and what I changed that made me want to revisit this idea and what made me excited again, is I changed the setting. It was gonna be in a typical kind of like Renaissance, medieval times, but now it's in a futuristic-y, Zodiac-centered setting. And I'm really excited. So let's start off with how I plot my stories. Okay, so I typically like to start out with looking through Pinterest and scrolling. I don't like that everything's AI, so if you guys have any tips on how to either get rid of that, I've already like clicked off of like the AI and saying I don't want any more AI, but like they still keep popping up. Or if there's any other things like Pinterest, but normally I'll make little Pinterest boards of like characters. I'll have naming boards, hence all the names. I have this Pinterest page since middle school. That's only for writing, so it has all these kind of like baby names that are like fantasy type names. I have boards with like other stories. I have boards for like characters. So let's look up like Zodiac inspired fantasy world and see what that pulls up. Okay, so the vibe is it's not the traditional blues and gold Zodiac, so I'm gonna change and add pink in front of what we just searched. And then, so I'll typically like find worlds that, pictures that get me set into the world I want. And then I already have characters from when this was a high school story. Okay, this is one of the characters hollow, but now that I want to make it Zodiac themed, I'm gonna have to like assign them all Zodiac houses, and I'm gonna cater their character to that. I'm not sure how much of these are AI because the story, like, I don't think they had the AI tags when I first started drafting this story, and I'm really bad at telling the difference between AI and digital art. So this is just one of the characters, and we're gonna get rid of the AI. We're gonna and okay, that's the best that I can do. But yeah, so that's how I get into the thought process of a new world. Okay, so I'm typically a pantser, but I discovered this way of plotting, kind of like basic bare bones of a plot, so you just have it all written down, and I really liked it. So we're gonna date it, and today is March 24th, 2026. So so the top half is the intro, so this will be like, this box will be like the world you're currently in, kind of like how it is in the hero's journey. This is where your character starts off. What's their normal day-to-day life? Where are they currently? And then somewhere here is the transition from where they are to where the story is going to be. And that's how it works so far for my stories. And it should work even if you're already where you're supposed to be. Something's gonna happen that's gonna change the entire course of the story from where their day-to-day is, even if they're in the middle of the action already. And then so the mid is what happened here that's gonna cause all of this. Like, why is this happening? This is gonna be where I typically put the climax of the story, not always. And this might get erased. This is just the for now. This is what I'm gonna follow for the first draft, but it might not stay the same. So this will be the big, like, okay, everything's happening all at once, which leads to the wind down of the story, and possibly perhaps a plot twist, or like a, oh my goodness, I didn't see that happening, or the character might not get what they first set off to do here and what they've been working towards here. It might not happen, but why? So that's typically how I'm going to start off drafting a story, but the editing process later might all change this. I might add 5 more boxes here, might need 5 more boxes for a full complete story, but this is how I'm gonna start it. Okay, so that's the beginning on how I like plotting my stories and how I'm gonna start off writing this book. I'm probably also going to break it down into chapters. I will probably do that in a later video on how I do the chapter setup, but I have to figure out how it's gonna work on writing it down on paper, because I want to do the first draft completely on paper, other than like the boards and stuff for Pinterest. Like I said, if you have any other suggestions other than Pinterest, please let me know. I am looking for things very similar without like all the AI. Also, in terms of video games, I think we, in this, you know how like you level up in a video game really fast in the beginning? I'd say we're on like level 1.5, almost to 2. I think once we finish the actual plotting, writing all that down, and in my next video when we plot all like the chapters, this is sounding like I'm a planner. Trust me, it's just to get it all down, but I skip around a lot. I'd say once we get ready, when we're heading, looks like we're going to start writing chapter 1, I'd say we're well on our way to being on level 3. See you guys in my next video. If you want to follow along on this story journey for your story, click a like and a follow and a subscribe. Thank you.